Welcome to Soul Care, a moment in your week to think about some things. And today, maybe to think about how sometimes you just need somebody to lean on. I was reading a journal that a lot of ministers get called Christian Century. And the beginning of the article started with the description of an angel. It was an angel in a painting. The painting was called The Wounded Angel by a Finnish artist, Hugo Simberg. Well, the angel, I guess we could say she, I'm not sure if it's a uh, she was on a stretcher, and two boys are carrying this angel. She has a bandage around her head, and she's leaning down, looking at her bare feet. And with her hand, she's gripping the poles of the stretcher on both sides. And in one hand, also holding onto the pole, she's holding onto a sprig of flowers. They're called snowdrops. The boy's clothes are dark brown or black, and the back of the landscape behind the angel is brown, dull. But her white of her gown and her wings and the bandage stand out. How do I know she's an angel? She has wings. The painting suggests that this angel is suffering. And somehow it makes you think, well, even people who bring aid to others also suffer. Even angels suffer. They too need others to care for them. I recently became aware for the first time of a psychological condition called the highly sensitive person. I have someone in my family who claims to be a highly sensitive person, and I have a close friend who says she is a highly sensitive person. The term comes from the work of Elaine Aron, Aron, a clinical psychologist who wrote the book The Highly Sensitive Person with the subtitle, How to Thrive When the World Overwhelms You. She put this book out in 1996. In the beginning of the book, there is an inventory to determine whether you are a highly sensitive person. I took the inventory and I'm not a highly sensitive person. I think I knew that. Um, I'll give you the questions and just keep track on your fingers how many true answers you have. If you need more fingers than 10, then perhaps you are a highly sensitive person. So the inventory just has not too many questions, and just think about whether this is true for you. I seem to be aware of subtleties in my environment. Other people's moods affect me. I tend to be very sensitive to pain. I find myself needing to withdraw during busy days into bed or into a darkened room or any place where I can have some privacy and relief from stimulation. I'm particularly sensitive to the effects of caffeine. I'm easily overwhelmed by things like bright lights, strong smells, coarse fabrics, or sirens close by. I have a rich, complex inner life. I am made uncomfortable by loud noises. I am deeply moved by the arts or music. I am conscientious. I startle easily. I get rattled when I have a lot to do in a short amount of time. When people are uncomfortable in a physical environment, I tend to know what needs to be done to make a more comfortable place, like changing the lighting or the seating. I'm annoyed when people try to get me to do too many things at once. I try hard to avoid making mistakes or forgetting things. I make it a point to avoid violent movies and TV shows. I become unpleasantly aroused when a lot is going on around me. Being very hungry creates a strong reaction in me, disrupting my concentration or mood. Changes in my life shake me up. I notice and enjoy delicate or fine scents, tastes, sounds, or works of art. I make it a high priority to arrange my life to avoid upsetting or overwhelming situations. When I must compete or be observed while performing a task, I become so nervous or shaky that I do much worse than I would otherwise. When I was a child, my parents or teachers seemed to see me as sensitive or shy. So that's the inventory. Did you have enough fingers for the things you scored on? This book says that if you had 12 or more answers true to those statements, then you may be a highly sensitive person. Well, so what? If you are a highly sensitive person, I think there are some ramifications for you. But not only for you, also for the caring professional, the teacher, or the parent. This matters. It's estimated that about 20% of our whole population is highly sensitive. That's a lot. And yet it's in the minority. And the majority tend to assume people are not highly sensitive, and they go about having an environment that is too stimulating, too stressful for many highly sensitive people. First thing to do is to become aware that some people get overwhelmed more easily than others in crowds, with a busy schedule, or with the spotlight on them. It's important to learn to take breaks, cover your eyes just simply, or go to a quiet place. It's important to get plenty of rest and not allow yourself to get overextended. Setting boundaries is really a good practice for everyone, but it's very necessary for the highly sensitive person. Highly sensitive people need to develop self-compassion. You may have early childhood memories of stress and strain or even abusive situations. You may need to comfort your inner child, just as you would comfort another person, and say to yourself, it's okay. It's okay. You'll be okay. When dealing with a person who is highly sensitive, we want to be patient, not hurried. Some highly sensitive people are among the most creative and bright people. They may not respond to pressure, however. Highly sensitive people can develop independence and decision-making skills, so don't take away their sense of agency. A shy person is not necessarily lacking in a skill or talent at all. In fact, if we make room for people's differences in the way we relate to that person, we can maximize everyone's gifts. Paul has a famous passage in 1 Corinthians about spiritual gifts and how they're different. Now, there are varieties of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are varieties of services, but the same Lord. And there are varieties of activities, but it is the same God who activates all of them in everyone. To each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. To one is given through the Spirit the utterance of wisdom, and to another the utterance of knowledge according to the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by the one Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another the discernment of spirits, to another various kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. All these are activated by one and the same Spirit, who allots to each one individually just as the Spirit chooses. For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. For in the one Spirit we were all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slaves or free, and we were all made to drink of one Spirit. Maybe we are all sent from God, like angels. And sometimes we need others to carry us. And sometimes we can fly beautifully on our own. And maybe sometimes we just need a gift of flowers to hold, to add a moment of peace and beauty in our lives. May you experience peace and beauty, even in stressful times. And may it be well with your soul.